Welcome to Destination Jamaica. We're here today with Peter Nelson, Dr. Peter Nelson, who is the SRC's Young Scientist of the Year 2022, right?
2022, yes, exactly.
Dr. Peter Nelson, how are you?
I'm good now. Just here relaxing and doing some work as always.
Yes. And based on what you're saying, we were having a conversation, a really good conversation before, and you were telling us about your lead studies.
Right. Yes. So as I was saying about these investigations that I've been carrying out along with my graduate students, we have been working on lead sensors. We have been working on them for quite some time, from about 2017 thereabout. And I was telling you about the relevance of these sensors, right? Of course, their development provide significant scientific challenge and adventure, which is, you know, the high level stuff that scientists like. It's quite fascinating and all that. But in terms of the relevance to the regular man, because scientists tend to do a lot of stuff that it's more a lot of it is self-amusement, self-challenge, but um, the lead sensors are really useful. For example, lead is a neurotoxin, right? One of the interesting things about lead, and we have lots of scientific studies, scientific articles to prove these things. Lead is able to cross the blood-brain barrier. So lead can actually get into your brain quite easily, no difficulty with that. Another thing with lead is able to mimic the behavior of calcium. Calcium is responsible for energy release, right, in your cells. And lead is able to mimic calcium, so it behave exactly like calcium and prevent the release of energy and stuff like that. So lead is quite dangerous, to put it simply. Another thing with lead is that it is able to basically damage your nerve by preventing the transmission of neural signals. Alright? And we have the technical aspect of it where they talk about the pre-synaptic nerve endings and how lead is able to block these neurotransmitters. Alright? But the thing is with lead is that it's environmentally persistent.
Yeah.
Meaning that it can stay in the environment for a very long time. It can stay in water for a long time, and it can stay in the air for a long time. For example, there was a study coming out of the UK. I think it was in the Guardian. I have the reference, which showed that the dust particles in the US, not in the US, in the UK, contain a significant amount of lead, which originates from leaded gasoline. And leaded gasoline has been banned from about 1999. But still, lead from these fuels remain in the air today. Right? About 30 something to 40 something percent of lead in these dust particles came from leaded gasoline. So that speaks to the environmental persistence. Meaning that if somehow 20 years ago you dispose of a battery, a car battery, a lead acid battery, in an improper manner, then and the lead in that battery find its way into the water table or into fish or something like that, it could stay there for many years. So it's not a problem that you're going to solve like that. Or we have some lead that got into the water table, we can just go clean it up and that's it. No, it will take some time, right? Because it's very persistent. Look at, for example, the Flint water crisis in Michigan, in the U.S., where over 100,000 residents were affected by lead in their drinking water from these old pipes. Now, this is not a problem that you're going to fix in even 50 years, because the thing is with lead, it is able to accumulate in the body. They say it is able to bioaccumulate. It gets into the body and it is stored in the bone marrow.
Yeah.
And now and again it comes out and is circulating, in the blood. It becomes mobile as a result of your circulatory system. And damage your organs, damage your brain, damage your liver, your kidneys, your heart, stuff like that. And if you're a female, it will poison the fetus. It will end up getting into the body of the fetus, right? Because it is able to cross over from your body into the bloodstream of the fetus.
Leading to miscarriage.
Could lead to miscarriages. It could also
developmental problems in
it will cause definitely it will cause significant developmental problems in the child mentally and where the child's intellectual capacity is concerned. Things like um, the child's ability to read, to count, to do any form of numerical manipulation. That we have lots of scientific studies to prove this. So it's not just, we're not just talking some things. We have many scientific papers to prove this with blood test results and all that sort of stuff. Right? Deep scientific studies
Yeah.
to prove all of this. So the lead sensors are very important. And not just, as I said, for scientific challenge, but to the regular man. Because we're talking about a very dangerous environmental pollutant. It's a pollutant so dangerous that the Centers for Disease Control, right, in the US, CDC, right, they have a goal of having a 0 milligram per liter lead exposure level for humans, meaning that they don't want it to be exposed to lead any at all. That's a goal because they know that it is that dangerous.
Okay, so for those who are just joining, he's speaking about his lead sensor. He identified a problem, which is the lead poisoning. That's what you call it. And they came up with a solution, which is a lead sensor. How did you come up with lead sensors?
Okay, well, first of all, I'm always working on sensors. That's one area that I'm fascinated with because one, it provides significant scientific challenge, and also it allows me now to do work that is impactful where the wider society and the wider world is concerned. Right? So I'm always working on sensors. And generally, I look for a problem. That's what scientists do. They solve problems. They're problem solvers. I see that, look, lead is a problem. It remains a problem, and it probably will always be an issue. And it will be a long-term issue, especially if we don't start from now to develop systems that will allow us to prevent lead entering the human food chain. So we have to start from now. Things like how we deal with batteries, how we dispose of these lead acid batteries. Lead acid batteries are very popular, by the way. Most of our cars use lead acid batteries, our cars or motorcycles, or trucks or vehicles in general. It is really lead acid batteries that they use. Now, in our country, Jamaica, what systems do we have in place to deal with the disposal of these batteries? What do we do with that? Where are the regulations that say, look, if you have a car battery, take it to this place when you are done with it? How do we dispose of these batteries? I can tell you for sure that in terms of, what do you call it now? A solid waste management. Look at our waste disposal. It's riverton. Right? It needs some work. I don't want to bash the solid waste management authority too much, but I want to motivate them and to say, look, we need to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? We need some proper sorting.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know if it is a case where they don't have the budget, but we need the budget because if you don't manage your waste, then your waste end up entering your food chain. So you end up consuming back your waste, and that will cause diseases.
Yeah.
So that is important. So this is just encouragement to tell them that, look, we need to put some stuff in place. Where are the regulations for controlling the disposal of these batteries? I don't know of any regulations where that is concerned. So more than likely, people just probably throw it in the garbage. It end up at riverton, and the lead. Animals could end up consuming some of the lead. It could end up in the soil, or it could end up then in the water table, and we need water to drink. So it end up right back on your plate. So that is a significant problem, and I think that if I could bring some awareness to that, I think I would be doing something useful.
How do the sensors work?
Well, they are electrochemical sensors, firstly. So how it operates is that we have an electrical probe, which is almost like the size of a pen, and it has a material which we use to coat that pen or probe. This material is selective for lead, so we call it the ion selective membrane, meaning that it will only interact with lead. When it interacts with lead, it generates an electrical current, and based on the size of the electrical current, you can quantify the lead. and said, okay, you have this amount of lead present. Because it is selective for lead, if there is no lead, the current is zero. You don't have any current, so you have no lead. There might be other metal ions, but it is selective for lead. So we call these ion selective electrodes. Now the good thing about these electrodes, and I intend to do some more work with these for medical diagnostics, right? One, it's fast, is relatively cheap, alright? And seeing that we have invested and will continue to invest our scientific time into the development of these systems, we now know how to modify them relatively easily and in a cheap manner for diagnostic processes, especially in medicine. So for hormone detection and stuff like that, for even drug detection.
Yeah.
Right? So one, they are fast, relatively cheap to manufacture, and easy to use. So you don't have to be a chemist. When I hand it to you, you don't have to be a chemist. And as I said, it can be something as small as a pen. Right? So it's an electrochemical sensor. It's based on electronics. Right? So that's basically how they work.
So
Okay.
is it reusable?
Yes, it's reusable.
Okay.
It's reusable. And it does not, it will not contribute to the problem. As you know, sometimes we develop some technology to solve a certain problem, and the technology itself is making a contribution to the problem. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's I guess you could say it's green.
Okay. Tell us about your other sensors. You say you have one for sugar.
Oh, okay. So there is another one that I was working on jointly with Georgia Crawford. Right? She actually came to me with the idea, and well, actually she has been talking to me about this idea for some time, even before I went to Israel. I suppose she had this idea that, you know, if you could create something that could detect excess sugar in the urine and whatever. But I was in a rush to head to Israel and all that, so we didn't get to flesh that out. And you know, recently she came back to me with the same idea again. And you know, I went and I did some work on it with Shannon DaCosta, who is a scientist that she placed under my supervision. And we were able to develop a sensor. It's a colorimetric sensor. Colorimetric just means that it's something that changes color based on the presence of a certain analyte. The analyte would be the glucose, right? So, based on your blood sugar level, it gives you a color change. Not blood sugar level, sorry, your urine sugar level, right? It will give you a color change. So what we have been trying to do, and I believe we have been successful to a good extent, because we have generated international attention from, because it's that, look, this thing works, right? Is to incorporate it in wipes. And so this is like simple technology, something that you can have in your bathroom. It's not very expensive. It won't cost you millions of dollars. And it's something that will allow you to monitor your health at home, right? As an early warning. So what it does is that it changes color once your urine comes in contact with it, and your urine has a glucose level which is above a certain threshold. So that is what that one is about. And as I say, I'm working on some others for the detection of items. There are a few things that I would love to target.
Yeah.
Things like cervical cancer for women. Of course, I've been trying to develop the concept. I probably have to use something like vaginal discharge, right? To see if there's some inconsistency, there's something that can give us information about what is going on with the cervix. Because we have a lot of women, dying from cervical cancer, womb cancer, and stuff like this. Breast cancer is also another one that I'm very interested in working on, and also prostate cancer, right? Of course, all of these are tough problems to solve, but that's why we're scientists. That's what we're supposed to do, right? So these are some of the things that I'm trying to wrap my head around right now. Of course, I'm in the process of developing the concepts, and then now to get to the chemicals.
Yeah.
To get the chemicals in. Of course, I would be hypocritical if I didn't mention that it's quite difficult to get chemicals to really, conduct these types of research. Getting the chemicals into Jamaica is a very difficult thing, but to get import permits, import permits take a long time, 8 weeks minimum, and sometimes more. Alright, just to get the permits, and you haven't shipped the thing yet, You get the import permit now. You need to tell your people to ship it off, because if you tell the company to ship this thing, it will come to the wharf, and then you'll pay storage.
Yeah.
Right? And remember, we don't have a lot of funding where research is concerned. We don't have a funding agency where we can go to and say, look, I need some funds to do this. And they say, except the NCST, National Commission on Science and Technology, which I must say thanks to, because I received some funding from them. I have to say thanks to them. But we don't have a budget set aside. We say, look, this is for scientific research, right?
Yeah.
We have 100 million here. If you come with a good proposal that can solve a serious problem that we have, we get a committee to review your proposal, and you'll get some money.
Yeah.
And we expect you to give us some results, right? I think if we had something like that, scientists would be more motivated, and we'd see more developments that can help us with our problems. But we don't have that, right? And so it kind of put us behind everybody else to try to fight to catch up. We don't have to be like that, because we have the mental capacity. We have people here who are very smart in all of our universities, URI, UTech, KS, NCU, and or other universities who can solve a lot of our problems. But we just place such a high barrier towards helping ourselves that sometimes people just get turned off and say, boy, I can't bother with this.
Yeah.
Or they just bail out. They just say, go to a place in the US or go and work with something, which is unfortunate for the country. Alright? Because these same persons might, most of the time, they return later on when they are older and say, boy, the country underdeveloped, boy, nothing not go on. Yeah, nothing not go on because you did not stay to make something go on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so it's challenging. It's challenging in areas that I think it should not have to be. I should not be. Alright? Let us be challenged by the science, man. Let us not put the challenges to ourselves for no reason. Challenge with funding. Challenge with, you have the funding now. Alright, can't get the chemicals in. Or can't get the equipment.
Challenge after challenge.
That challenge, and then you still have to deal with the challenge of the science itself.
Yeah.
I would rather be challenged by the science.
Yeah. You don't need to be exhausted by the other
By the
part.
time you finish crossing the hurdles and get the chemicals, you're burnt out.
Yeah.
By the time you take a rest and wake up, come and discover that already. Look at the COVID pandemic, for example. You think it is a case where we don't have people in Jamaica that have the mental capacity to develop vaccine? Developing the vaccines is not all that, in terms of difficulty, right? I'm not saying that it did not take scientific work. Of course it took scientific work. But the first one was developed, I think, in the US now. It's under 60 days. They came up with it once the sequence of the genome was released by the Chinese. And it was probably faster than that because the Russians said that they had one even before that. So we could have done the same thing. We have the mental capacity, we have people with the experience, we have good biologists here, good chemists, good physicists. But we are not really interested in that. We are more interested in, and this is my opinion, we're more interested in waiting for a so-called first world country to develop the vaccine, and then we get it from them. Now, you saw the resistance, or people were not very trusting of this. They said, boy, the man them want to do with this. Why the man them want to do with that? Maybe if it was developed by a Jamaican scientist, they would say, well, alright, a good boy, man. I know his mother got a church, a good boy and thing. And I can call him and ask him, ask him some question, or sometimes him drive past me, I know him. A good you. Because it's their own develop it. Alright? And them say, well, now him son and him mother and him friend them and kill them off, so it must be good. You see? So, we could have done these things, but it's just that we have not put ourselves or our scientists in the position, resource-wise and funding-wise, to be able to solve our local problems. We can develop drugs.
talking about all of that, that's one thing we don't really hear about. We hear about the sports, we hear about the music, we
Right.
hear about the creativity and so forth. Alright, so running a YouTube channel, we get to see a lot of subscribers from all over the world. And one of the things they mention is that they don't hear a lot about the intellect or the science of Jamaica, right?
Right.
It's not as loud as the music and the arts and so forth. So is that something that you can speak on? Because you're here.
Right.
You're Dr. Peter Nelson, you won awards, you have several scientists that you work with. So
Yes.
we're here, or you're here, but you're not known.
Right. Well, it's unfortunate that the science is not as loud or advancements or advancements where intellectual capacity is concerned. Of course, we can knock the sports, right? Because we need some physical activity, and our athletes have done very well, um, and our musicians have done very well, and we have to applaud them. We have to applaud the arts. Um, we need to really develop our science more. We need to publicize it more locally, right? And to encourage our people into it. We also need to invest in it more. I think maybe the reason for such a development where, for example, music is concerned is almost like music is more like of a self-investment in a sense, in that for somebody to perform well in science, you need resources. You could be as creative as ever. You will need resources, and the resources are expensive. For example, I'm a chemist. I will need chemicals, right? I will need equipment to whatever drug I synthesize or whatever chemical compound I will need to characterize it, and this will require expensive equipment. I will need a lab space. Now imagine if I was like a singer, right? I know how to sing, I know how to write songs. What I need to do is to find a studio. And if I can't find a studio, I probably could do it on my cell phone. Indeed, the quality will not be as good as a studio production, but I could probably do it on my cell phone and put it on YouTube. Somebody might see it and like it and say, look, this brother have some lyrics, you know. Call him and let's take him to a studio. Alright? It can't go like that for a scientist. You need a lab space, you need chemicals, you need equipment. So it takes more investment. Alright? Even with athletics, indeed you need a coach, you need somewhere to train. Alright? But that is something we have been doing from primary school.
Yeah.
Running. Alright? We have our sports day. So you see, we have a culture of sports, and our athletics program is over 100 years old. Boys and girls champs is probably about 110, 115 by now, continuously running. Alright, so we have invested tremendously in it, and we have done well in it. I'm saying we need some of this investment in science. We need to publicize it more. Let the people know, the scientists know who is working on what they are good at, what problems you can bring to them, how you can reach out to them. Because look, there are some good ideas floating around out there, right? In the heads of some non-scientists. And somebody could say, hey, I know this bush, it can do this and it can do that. Or my granny used to use it to do this. And I say, oh really? Bring some of it. Let's extract the compounds that are there, characterize them, and we'll test them and see if this is really so. Alright? Might check it and when we look, it's a novel compound that is able to treat belly ache, menstrual cramps, high blood pressure. Alright? So I'm just saying that if our scientists are more publicized, if our science is more public and people know about it, we can achieve more. And another thing is, we need investment in science. The thing is that, and I understand, science is not a tomorrow thing. You know, put in money today and know that okay, tomorrow we're going to have 50 drug molecules synthesized and ready to go on the shelf. It's a long-term investment. But when it starts to bear fruit, it bear a lot of fruit. They can't count it. That's why the Chinese, in about 2008, even before 2008, about 2001, the Chinese were investing significantly. Something like about, I think it's about 1.1% of their GDP into applied science. In 2008, when the US had this big recession, alright? US started to hold back on some of its pure scientific concepts, mean that kind of say, boy, we can't put too much of this out there. People are taking our science and, they're stealing our stuff. They're stealing our intellectual property. The US start to hold back. Chinese realize that, look, we need also to invest in pure science, not just applied science. Not just take the fact that a guy over there invented a new material which is stretchy. Let's take this material and make balloons. Right? China started to say, look, that is nice, but you need to invent the material, the stretchy material too. So they started to invest, and I think they went up to something like about 1.6% of their GDP investment in science. They start now to invest more into pure science, the heavy scientific concepts. Because they know what this is the way. And look at China today. This is something that the Germans have been doing forever. They have been doing this forever. $600 billion. Angela Merkel invested, I think that was about in 2015. She wrote a letter in this journal called Nature, where she spoke about the 600 billion euros invested in science, knowing that it probably won't bear fruit next year or the other year or the other year. But you know what? Even 10 years down the line, we must get something off this. And so they continue to invest that level of money every year. And so don't be surprised when you see they have Benz, BMW, they're making airplane engines. They make almost everything over there. Right? It's not a yesterday thing. They have been doing this forever. Fritz Haber, the person who invented this, he pioneered the commercialization of the Haber process. Right? There's another guy who also contributed to it. For the manufacture of ammonia. Ammonia we use for the manufacture of fertilizer. Ammonium nitrate fertilizers and stuff. Now that is so important because without fertilizer we don't have food. Right? So, and this is something, this is a long time invention, and there are other inventions that I can point to. So this is the route that Jamaica really has to go if it wants to really create a sturdy economy and a recession-proof economy. We have to deal more into production where our science is concerned, where drug development. People always need drugs, right? They'll always need medication. There are always new diseases coming out. And so we want to get more into that sort of thing. There are billions of dollars to be had. Now indeed our sports would have contributed significantly to attracting tourists to Jamaica. But imagine if we are known as the place that manufactures most of the antibiotics on the market. Right? When people are coming, they will not come with $5,000 US, they'll come with more like 5 billion to see if they can set up a factory or see if they can get some Jamaican scientists to do some work in their company. So you see 5,000 versus 5 billion over a long period of time. So we have to invest more in our science. We love the sports, don't throw it away, but bring the science up too. Let's invest some more in the science and the scientists.
Definitely. Thank you for that. Now tell us, how did you get into science and why?
Okay, so my beginning where science is concerned was from an early age because I've always been a fan of science from primary school. Just by watching science fiction movies and stuff like that. Reading science books, learning about the different types of rocks, igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and all kinds of stuff. I just found that very interesting. I've always wanted to. I've always enjoyed finding out about things, right? Different type of rocks. So you mean there are different type of rocks. Why are they different? Alright? Where do rocks come from? Can they grow? Stuff like, these questions. And so, with that curiosity, I went to St. Thomas Technical High School in St. Thomas, of course. It's a technical high school, so it means that we have vocational areas like agriculture, electrical, welding and stuff like that. And I did agriculture and I did also electronics. The teachers there, they were very encouraging where science and learning is concerned. My agriculture teachers, as I can recall, these are actually farmers. I know Mr. Patrick Walker. He used to work at Eastern Banana Complex. He was, I think he was a farm manager, farm supervisor, or something like that. So this was, I was being taught agriculture by an actual farmer. So it's not somebody who have to look out at a book and say, well, the book said, it can tell you, say, no, this is what will happen if you do that, right? Because this is what he has been doing. And my pure science teachers, chemistry, physics, biology, they were also very encouraging. We had a nice little lab there. We did a lot of experiments where we were able to learn firsthand. So, you know, the environment was good to facilitate my entrance into science. And because of this environment now, I grew more in love with science, right? And I realized that, you know, chemistry is the one. You know, I can create things from chemistry. I enjoyed the rest as well, but chemistry provided that challenge, and I could see myself actually creating stuff from chemistry, right? I said, all right, because if chemistry is the thing. So I went on after high school to the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. That's in Portland, right? Formerly called the College of Agriculture, but they combined the College of Agriculture (COA) with Pasley Gardens Teachers College to give us CASE. So I went to CASE, and I focused mainly on natural science. That's what I did. I did natural science with a major in chemistry and biology. And of course, the encouragement into chemistry was just solid there. You know, the chemistry that we did was very good. And so I was even more motivated now to go into chemistry. It was a tough program, but I'm thankful for it because it made me very rigid in terms of how I approach science and approach thinking and putting things together. Alright? And so while I was there, I realized that, you know, the Associates of Science degree that I was doing was a 2-year program. But that program was so good that UWI would allow you to enter their Bachelor's of Science program and do only 2 years to get a Bachelor's of Science degree. So 2 years at CASE, Associates of Science degree, and then to come to UWI, 2 years you get a Bachelor's. You know, if I had gone to 6th form, then I would have to come to you and do 3 years. That would be 5 years in total to go from CSEC to Bachelor's. But because I went to CASE, it took a total of 4 years. I cut off a year. That's important because I was broke with no money, right? So if you can shave off a year, it's a lot of money. So I went that route, came to UWI, and I did general chemistry, right? 2 years. That went well overall. Started out a little bit rocky. Didn't feel anything, but it was a little bit rocky because the environment that U is different. U is much larger, and you know, whereas CASE was more like a small village. You know everybody, right? If you miss something, somebody can just give you the notes or help you out or something. But U was more professional in a sense. When I say more professional, I'm talking about the student body. You have to be a more professional student, right? Go to class on time, show up at your lab, do your tutorials and stuff like that. CASE was more relaxed, but my friend them go, we can get the stuff from them. And they would, when they come, if I am not there, they come and teach me. So, you know, they make it a duty to teach you. Alright. So it was a different environment. But overall, I, you know, picked up and, you know, the bachelor's went well. Right? Did a lot of research in undergrad, and that again fueled my love for research. And so I applied to the MPhil PhD program. And said, alright, I would work with this professor, Professor Henry Ellis. And so I came to work with Professor Henry Ellis, working on some metal salts. Lead was also one of the metals that I did a little bit of work on. Lead salts with him. These were liquid crystalline in nature. So it's like a liquid that behaves like a solid. So it's right in between liquid and solid. So you know, for example, you have solid, liquid, and vapor. There's also another state, liquid crystal. Right? So that was fascinating because it was the first time I was being exposed to something like that. So I said, wow, scientist in the area. Worked with him and got a lot of experience. Published a number of scientific papers in international journals. I think when I left grad school, I probably had about 9 or something like that, 9 papers published. And that's a lot of papers actually. The papers were quite good. That one professor in Weizmann Institute of Science, he found interest in one of them, and so when I applied to, when I wrote to him to ask if, ask about a postdoctoral position, even though the competition was stiff, he was leaning to my side because of what he read, about the work that I was doing. So after graduating in 2013, as the youngest PhD graduate, at 25, I got my PhD at 25. So alright, applied to Weizmann. I was hunting for postdocs. I applied to Max Planck. That one I didn't get into that program, but I got into Weizmann. Now, Weizmann Institute is a good institute. There's probably only one other institute that's above Weizmann. One and maybe the other one is kind of inching a little bit close, and that institute is Max Planck Institute in Germany. There's Max Planck and then Weizmann. There's another one called ETH in Zurich, which is the one where Einstein did his PhD. That's the one that's probably, that's a competitor right there. But those three, and I got into Weizmann as the first Jamaican at Weizmann. So I was in Israel for 2 years, right, living and doing my research work there under the supervision of Professor Jacob Sagiv and Dr. Rivka Maros, right? 2 years there, working on nanomaterials and thin films, chemistry and stuff like that. And then at the end of 2 years, I decided that I would, seek a job and come back. I wanted primarily to come back home, to, let my scientific developments, start from here in terms of, and shine outward, right? Let my developments be a Jamaican product, alright? Of course, given what we know about Jamaica in terms of its investment in science and stuff, that's risky business, because the career could just go downhill, because we don't invest much in science. I'm not bashing us, but we don't, and that's a reality. Right? What percentage of our budget? Where is the government fund that we put aside and say this is for research in medical science, in chemistry, in physics? Right? This is for development of medical technology. We don't have any of that. Alright? So, and that's a reality. So coming back here was tough, but I decided I would take it on. I decided that look, I will take on the challenge. And so I got the job at UWI, and I just came back and just started working, started pushing and looking for grants. I got one from the National Commission on Science and Technology, which I made really good use of, because it's not something that you just get every other day. No. So I think I got something like 7.5 million. Alright? Which, of course, to the regular man, it's going to sound like a lot of money. But in scientific terms, it's a good starter, but it's not a lot of money. It's a good start. That's how expensive science is, It's an expensive thing. That's why it's a long-term thing. And that's why you find that a lot of governments of small states don't invest so much, because well, you invest this money and when it will bear fruit. Alright? And sometimes the popularity, but remember the politicians run for office. How popular is this investment to the people? How are you going to explain to the people that you invest 50 million in scientific research, and the people say, well, I don't see how that help me, But you have to bring it to them and educate and say, look, this is a long-term investment. When diseases come, we can really show our scientists and say, hey, we need you to work on something because we need some sort of treatment. You see, microbes becoming resistant to antibiotics and stuff like that. You could reach your scientists and say, look, you see this? Here's some money, you focus on this. You know about hospital pneumonia. Hospital pneumonia is different from regular pneumonia. And that's why you go to hospital, somebody is sick, they say, be careful, the person pneumonia, don't hold them. Because they know they say the hospital pneumonia, there's no treatment. Because it lives in the hospital, it is used to the drugs that are there. It is immune. So it don't matter what they give you. it's your immune system alone that will save you. So if you're young, chances are you will survive. But if you're an older person, just when that catch you, you have to just pray. Alright? Ask any physician about hospital pneumonia. Alright? That one which lives there, no, you could call up a group of scientists and say, look, we have this amount of money, we need something for this. Alright, we need you to work on something. Put together some proposals, send in your proposal, we review your proposals, and we issue the fund and you can do some work. But that's what scientists are for. They are for solving problems. They need the resources. Right? Well, we do just need further investment. So the NCST did something, and I applaud them for that, which basically connected me with some scientists in South Africa. I traveled to South Africa to meet up with them and to look at the lab. And one of my students, she went there to do some research, and so they created a connection between my lab at the UWI and this lab in South Africa, which is a good thing. That's a powerful start. I'm just saying we need more of that. Alright? And so I continue to work because the lead project is what they funded in the NCST. And I made sure to really go in on it hard and show them that look, it's working. Here's the investment. Here are the papers. We have published 2 papers on it so far, and we have submitted 3 papers this year alone. I'm waiting now for the people to finish reviewing the papers and to get them published. So we'll have 5 scientific papers. And I said scientific, these are novel findings. Nobody else in the world have discovered these things coming out of Jamaica. Based on the investment of the National Commission on Science and Technology. Now, can you imagine if they had 5 other scientists that got this type of funding and were producing this level of work? Or if we had gotten a little bit more money, we could have a few drugs on the market.
Yeah. And tell us, you teach chemistry.
Yes,
I
teach chemistry here at the UWI. I'm a physical chemist, so I teach mainly stuff like electrochemistry, thermodynamics, kinetics, that sort of stuff.
What's that like? What's your experience?
Well, teaching at UWI, it has been good. It has been good. We have some challenges, resource-wise, because one of the things with educating people in science, you need to expose them to technology. Now, it takes a lot of money though. It takes a lot of money. So it's easy to come to UWI and say, boy, you don't have this. Boy, you don't have that. But the cheapest piece of equipment that you're going to find is going to cost you $3 to $5 million. The simplest piece of equipment. Alright? Now, I will tell you the price of some of these things that you see here. Alright? And all of them is over $1 million. $1 million Jamaican dollars. As small as you see the few things that are in this office. Quite expensive. Now, it don't have much use to the regular man on the street. Alright, so if I give him it, he don't see the use of it, don't have no value to him, but in terms of in science, these things are expensive. So the challenges that we have with teaching is that we need more financial input so that we can upgrade our technology and expose the young scientists to more advanced and the latest technology such that they can be more innovative.
Because you said we definitely have the brilliance.
Oh, absolutely. No question about that. I mean, I was at the Weizmann Institute in Israel, and that's Israel's top institute, right? I had no challenge catching on or managing there. So it's not like I was there and I can't keep up with the man then. It wasn't a problem at all in terms of keeping up and doing what I needed to do. Right? I still have stuff that I left there that the group is working on, and we're about to publish some of that. That's a level of work that I did while at Weizmann. So it was never a problem of, I don't know enough, or the theoretical knowledge is solid enough. The only point where I said, well, something was lacking was exposure to technology.
Yeah.
Alright? Now, because I had a really good theoretical framework, I was able to catch up very fast. because once you start to explain something to me, because my theoretical knowledge is so good, I can understand what you're explaining, because I have so many examples in my head. I can understand what you're saying to me. It doesn't matter how complicated the material is, I'm going to understand it. But I had to work hard now to catch on to the practical use of the equipment, because I've never seen the equipment before. Alright? So that is the main challenge, if you ask me, for UWI and teaching at UWI. You need input of more technology, more equipment. And as I say, it's a challenging thing. Our principal, he has done a lot to kind of, the COVID came in and kind of knock a lot of things. But he came in and tried to lift the UA out of debt. And I think he has done a good job in doing that. But now we really need some serious input of capital.
What would you like to say to the diaspora when it comes to science in Jamaica?
Well, what I would say to the diaspora is that if you want to see the country grow, and I'm not just talking about growth for now or growth for this year, but if you want to see the country become really sturdy in terms of its productivity and strength as a nation, you have to invest in our universities, right? Whether it is that you set up some sort of fund for them, and you don't have to say that, okay, you're worried about giving the university money because boy, you don't know if the right people won't get it or what. Look, you can set up a fund where scientists can apply for grants, or students can apply for scholarships. Alright? Or you can give the equipment itself. So you don't have to say, boy, you don't want to give your money and then your money get used up. No. You can donate equipment. You can come in and find out what equipment you need. What are the main pieces of equipment that you need to really aid research or aid the teaching? And you donate the equipment. Or you set up the fund. And you can control the fund. And they apply. And you can get a committee to review these proposals along with yourself, and you can make the purchase of the things that they need to conduct the scientific work. So I would say to the diaspora, look, invest in our university and invest in our scientific development for a strong nation. Alright? As you know, in Jamaica we try to offer free healthcare. It's tricky. Right? It's not perfect. But can you imagine that you can come from the US and come here and get treatment free? Right? Back to the US, you can't do that in the US. There's none of that. You have to pay. And not just pay, you have to pay a lot. Now, can you imagine if you would just invest a little bit in our hospitals? You know that there's a hospital down there that needs an X-ray machine or whatever. If you can come together and put an X-ray machine in the hospital, you don't have to worry that you give the government your money and the government is going to waste it. You put the X-ray machine in the hospital. You can't waste the X-ray machine, it's there. Right? And you help with the servicing and maintenance and so. When you need to come and get treatment, it's there. And it helps to serve the nation. So I'm saying the diaspora has to find a way to invest in the country through our universities and through service to the people and stuff like that.
Okay. And we had to read an article to know about you. You said that we don't know any organizations, pages, groups where we can read about what's happening or watch what's happening in science in Jamaica.
Well, we need more programs like yours. We need more people to do what you are doing. To go around and not just interview our athletes, which are fantastic people by the way, but also show the other side of Jamaica. Separate and aside from our cultural heritage, which is quite rich. Let's look some more at the intellectual side of Jamaica. We have a lot of great intellectuals, not just in science, but in the arts section, and in social sciences and stuff like that. People that you can really talk to and go, okay, we have these type of people here. People who have gone overseas to make their contribution. I don't know if you have read about Dr. Lawrence Williams. He's the Guinean weed king. He's the guy that have about 4 patents on some anti-cancer compounds from Guinean weed. And he was offered, I think, I think it's 100 million US in about 2015. Don't quote me on the year, but it's around about that year from an organization in the US. 100 million US, you know. Alright? I think at the time it worked out to about 2 billion Jamaican dollars for his patents. And he told me about this from I was in undergrad, that he developed some stuff from Guinean weed while he was in Germany, and he's going to blow up big, because he said, look, he can treat something like 4 or 5 different cancers or something like that. And then when I was in Israel, I heard about it. Did you know about it?
I heard about
something like this.
Yeah.
I probably heard about Dr. Henry Lowe.
Yeah, I didn't hear about
But the king of Guinea is actually not to knock Dr. Lowe, because he has done some significant work too with Indian weed and stuff like that, you know? A big scientist, but the one with the patents and the big patents is Dr. Lawrence Williams. And that is a fact, so he's not knocking anybody.
Yeah.
Such are the facts, right? In fact, if you go in Google and type in Dr. Lawrence Williams, or you type in Jamaican scientists offered 100 million US for patents for anti-cancer drugs, you'll see what I'm talking about. How many Jamaicans know about this person? You see the issue?
And the Jamaicans, some of the Jamaicans who don't know, they're complaining. They're saying, we don't hear about you guys. We don't know.
That's why we need more programs like yours to interview these people and to kind of put them out there and say, look,
so you're saying there are no
person.
groups or organizations that exist that can show us the works or what you guys are doing, what's in development, what's been done?
Only the UWI.
Only UWI
Only
website.
UWI. Yeah. But and that's a website.
It's crazy.
It's not an active thing where
no social media, nothing.
No. I see the Faculty of Science and Technology here at UWI, right? They are now big on social media, and they are, they're talking more about the scientists and putting things out there.
Okay, that's
right?
true.
So I guess we are kind of growing in that direction, but we're not there yet. And they are talking about really UWI scientists, right? What about those at NCU? What about those at UTech and the other universities?
Yeah.
We need to hear about them too.
Yeah, something needs to be done.
Yeah, we need to hear about them too.
So, any advice that you have to give to scientists, young scientists, whether they're in a basic school or they're UE or NCU or wherever?
Okay, in terms of advice, work hard. Work hard, organize yourself, right? Talk to scientists. Talk to scientists, because if you are in primary school or high school and you write to me and say, hey, I'm in such and such high school, I want to come into chemistry, I'll reply to your email. And if you want advice, I'll give you advice on how to get into science. It's big, right? So I'm not worried about you taking my place, right? You can only help me. So if you come as an next brilliant scientist, you are going to help me more than likely. So I would encourage you into it, and there are not many of us in Jamaica. Now, we have scientists here, some good scientists, but we could take some more scientists, and the world could take some more scientists. So I just encourage you to work hard and understand that, look, science is hard work, it's a lot of work. It will always be like this, alright? And generally require special people or a special mindset rather to go into science.
So you don't have no fear of AI taking over your job?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. The information in AI is provided by us. Whatever information AI has, we are the ones who provide that information.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So
AI
that's a thing to say. Being a scientist is a safe job.
It is a safe job. That's true. Yeah, man. It is a safe job, and I think being a scientist is a well-paying job too. Not just
in money, but what you do for
overall
service. Yeah.
Overall, it pays well. And as I say, not just in terms of money, but the contribution. We have this scientist called Thomas Philip Lecky, TP Lecky.
I know him.
And this man has been dead for a long time, but still we talk about TP Lecky. TP Lecky developed so many cattle breeds.
Yeah, crossbreed.
Yeah. He did Jamaica Black, Jamaica Brahman, Jamaica Red Pole, right, to develop our cattle breeds. We still have to be talking about this man. This man has a legacy, and his idea for developing, and his reason rather for developing these cattle breeds was to help local farmers who had to be farming on hillsides and stuff like that. So he wanted to get these cattle breeds which are stable and robust and can manage our climatic conditions and can manage the hillsides. So he said, look, I'm going to develop my own thing and get into animal crossbreeding and did this thing. So
Okay.
that we talking. So he created a legacy. We did about Jamaica Red Pole, Jamaica Black, Jamaica Brahman. I must say, a Jamaican scientist from Portland.
Yeah.
So,
Any question that you wouldn't ask you that you would have, liked to hear?
well, I would just like to see more scientists being involved in policy development and direction of the country
Definitely.
because not to toot our horns or anything, but scientists have a very methodical way of thinking.
But
Right?
also, it's totally necessary.
Yes, they're very methodical, and I can tell you for a fact, scientists are very honest people. Not to knock the other people, but scientists, because they have to be. Because, and in science, if you tell one lie, you're done. That's it. There's no forgiveness. That's one thing with science. So let's say you're working on something, and your results say X, and you decide to change it to Y. You see, if you are caught and when you are caught, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no more scientific career, no journal not publishing your stuff, no institution not employing you, no scientist not talking to you, because they don't want nobody see no email coming from you to them. Maybe the place that you're working might tell you that, look, you see, for the 10 years you're working with us, you don't want back our money.
Yeah.
Because you're a fraud.
Yeah.
So, so scientists are generally very honest people. Not just for those reasons which I have listed, but because these are people going to something for the love of it and the passion. And you're not lying to yourself. You're not getting away with that. So they're going to it for the love and the passion. And so they tend to report what the results are. They are what they are. Even if it's not what they want it to be, it is what it is. And that's why you trust scientists with your life. Alright? These are the like maybe the only people you trust like that in. Because when you go to your doctor and you say, boy, I feel a pain here, and check and say, boy, you have a lung infection or whatever. Alright? The doctor will prescribe a medication developed by scientists. And you're going to take it and so like, they don't know what is in it. It could be something to kill you. But guess what? It was developed by scientists and it was checked so many times and using so many parameters. You know that these people are very careful and it was done properly. And so you take it. Why didn't you object and say, no, maybe it's poison? It was developed by scientists. You trust them with your life because you know that these are honest people. It's not people who work for money.
Yeah.
Alright? I don't know no scientists who have any desire to chase wealth. Because the fact is, science, it takes time. It won't make you rich overnight. There are many other ways in which you can become rich overnight, man, or fast then, relative to science. If you really want to be wealthy, science is not the area that you're going to become wealthy tomorrow. Right? Indeed, when it bears fruit, the fruits are a lot. But it takes a while. It's not the fast lane. So a person who wants to become rich overnight wouldn't do science. People do science for passion because it's hard work and it's a lot of work.
Okay.
So I would like to see them more into policy development and offering guidance to the government, or rather to see the government consulting them more where policies are concerned, where directing the country are where these things are concerned. Right?
Like
you don't have to worry that they're going to lie to you or they're going to try to steal nothing. You don't have to worry about that. Trust me, they're not the type of people who are interested in that.
Okay.
The type of people who are brutally honest and who just tell you as it is. This is what it is, whether you want to accept it or not. This is what it is.
Yeah, and the final question of a minute. What makes you proud to be a Jamaican?
Well,
or what makes you proud of Jamaica?
I'm proud of Jamaica for a number of reasons because our heritage, where we're coming from as enslaved people brought from Africa, and where we are at now. We could have achieved more, but we have achieved a lot. Alright? We have freedom. in Jamaica. You don't have a situation so much where people are looking at you, are treating you bad because you're black. So I am very proud of that. I feel free in my own country. Indeed, we're probably not very wealthy, but we're working on it. So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud to just see people that look like me occupying the top positions, right? And to be living in a place like that. People that look like me are in the top positions and running things. So I'm very proud of that.
Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Nelson. Peter Nelson, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
It was my pleasure indeed hanging out with you.